Hey, good afternoon, everyone. It's Joe, and it's time for Pikkit with Joe. We've got two fantastic games on the ice tonight, and I tell you, last night's action was surprising again. The playoffs are sure not disappointing on the ice or on the hardwood, to be honest with you. We've had some really great games. Last night was Wednesday. We saw the Carolina Hurricanes be able to beat the New Jersey Devils. They were completely able to control the Devils' speed in that one. I was shocked at how we saw Carolina be able to come out. This is a team that hasn't been scoring those goals, able to rack up 5 goals on the New Jersey Devils. We had Smith start in that one, him pulled, Vanacek go in, still 5-1 win for the Carolina Hurricanes. And then we saw the Vegas Golden Knights pull off a big upset. Not really an upset, though, you guys, over the Edmonton Oilers. They were the home teams getting the wins last night. Big shout out to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here today. So we've got 2 games to go over today, trying to make some frickin' money, because you guys know I really was liking that under with Carolina and the New Jersey Devils, expecting that one to be a lower, more defensive battle. And I did think we'd probably get the same out of the Edmonton Oilers and the Vegas Golden Knights. I really liked what we saw out of the goaltending in the first round, expecting both those teams back. That game finished 10 goals, so something that we definitely will take into account the next time they play tomorrow. So we're looking at tonight's games with the Florida Panthers taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. That one kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern, and the 9:30 game is the Seattle Kraken taking on the Dallas Stars. Now looking at the first game in this series, they are both going into game 2 here. The Florida Panthers pulling off the upset in Toronto, winning that last game 4-2. Florida went up in the first period, scoring 1 goal. They scored 2 in the second and 1 in the third to finish things off. That last goal was scored. Who was it scored by? I'm drawing a blank. Who scored that last goal to finish it off? I believe it was Barkov or Montour. No, it was Montour who scored that last goal. He's been absolutely phenomenal out for the Florida Panthers. He finished things off with that last goal in that third period. Then we look at the Toronto Maple Leafs. They showed up, but only in the second period. We need this Toronto team to show up a full 60 minutes. They were able to score 2 goals in the second period, but still allowed the Florida Panthers to score 2. Looking at the matchup tonight, Florida being really disrespected by the books. They pulled off the upset in game 1 as the underdogs. Tonight, they're coming in around that plus 160 mark as an underdog. All the value is on Florida. Toronto should bounce back. This is a team that we saw really get destroyed by the Lightning in that first game, 7-2 loss in game 1. So game 1 of series had been hard on Toronto. They bounced back in game 2, answering back with a 7-1, 7-2 style win in that second game versus the Lightning. So the biggest question mark is, will they bounce back versus the Florida Panthers? I think this Florida Panthers team, they came out, they beat the Boston Bruins, are riding on such a high with so much momentum. Plus 160 underdogs just is way too much. The value is there. Grabbing them plus 1.5 on the puck line is a pretty solid way to go. It's minus 146 on that puck line. Case 32, or Jace 32, nice to see you here today. I do think is a nice way to look. This team, it's just rolling so hot. We look at that last game, we saw a nice goal and an assist out of Sam Bennett. He had 4 shots on goal. Matthew Tkachuk unable to get that anytime goal in the last game. He did have 3 assists and 3 shots on goal. I'm going to target Matthew Tkachuk of the Florida Panthers for that anytime goal tonight. That's coming in right around that plus 120 mark. Now, Barkov had 2 assists and 4 shots on goal. His over 2.5 shots on goal is way too juicy. It's a minus 148. Montour, we know how phenomenal he has been. Like I said, he got that last goal in that third period to seal things up for the Florida Panthers. He's really skates under the radar. Lots of people not picking up on how strong Montour has been. He was strong in the last series as well versus Boston. Now he has over 2.5 shots on goal tonight at minus 140. And I do think there's so much value on hitting it, even though we're laying some juice. He had a goal and 5 shots on goal in the last one, and he scored at least 1 goal in each of the Panthers' last 3 games. So I do think looking at him for that anytime goal as well tonight is someone you want to target if you want to sprinkle on it. But I do like his shots on goal over 2.5, a little bit better. Other than that, you guys, this is what I'm liking. I think you can look at Austin Matthews. You want to look at the other side of the puck? I know. Toronto should bounce back in this one. I'm just not buying it. We look at 36 shots on goal for Toronto in the last one, only 28 by the Florida Panthers. So they did get some nice goals past Samsonov. The more physical team was the Florida Panthers, 47 hits on Toronto, and Toronto coming out with 36. Neither team was able to capitalize on the power play. And that's one thing. The Florida Panthers need to stay out of the box because they did give Toronto 4 opportunities. Now, one thing that was a huge eye-opener for me was that last 3 minutes of game 1. Toronto pulled Samsonov. They were without a goalie for 3 minutes. They had the extra man on ice advantage. Florida unable to get the empty net, and Toronto unable to score with that extra man. That just leans me right towards the Florida Panthers to be able to pull off another upset here, you guys, with Toronto outmanning them on that ice in their zone and Florida being able to hold them off. It's a huge indicator. Bobrovsky playing absolutely phenomenal. His numbers tonight, Bobrovsky over 29.5 save shots on goal is coming in at -122. You guys know I am absolutely hitting that. I do think Bobrovsky comes out, has a really solid night out on the ice. It's pivotal for the Florida Panthers to get this win. Now, Austin Matthews, like I said, unable to get a goal in the last one, but he did have 6 shots on goal. If he can find the back of Bobrovsky's net tonight, that's -125 for an anytime goal for Austin Matthews. Tavares had 5 shots on goal in the last game. Mitch Marner was held to 1 shot on goal. I do think he probably goes over his 2.5 shots on goal, but we're laying juice with the player that only had 1 shot in the last one, so not someone I'm going to target. Ryan O'Reilly had an assist and 3 shots on goal, so I do think if you're looking for a player to get some points, Ryan O'Reilly definitely been a difference maker and held off the scoreboard. So I do think he could come out and get it. Kenny, shout out to you too. Thank you so much, each and every one of you, for being here. So in this game, I got a ride with the Florida Panthers +1.5. You guys know I'm going to take them there on that money line. Just way too much value for me to look past. I'm going to take Bobrovsky over 29.5 save shots on goal at -112. Matthew Tkachuk for the anytime goal coming in at right around that +120 mark. Montour over 2.5 shots on goal, -140 there. Now, Austin Matthews, I do think there's still value on Austin Matthews to get the goal at -125. Ryan O'Reilly to get the points, goals, or assists. I do like him to be impactful in this game. Toronto really, really needs to bounce back. Bobrovsky pivotal for the Florida Panthers tonight. The next game on a deck, we have the Seattle Kraken taking on the Dallas Stars. And if you guys were here 2 days ago, you know I lost my shirt on this game. This game absolutely not going the way I expected. I had the under 1.5 in the first period. I had the Kraken's team total under 2.5, and I had the under for the game. Wow. The under 1.5 was dead before the first period was over. The under 2.5 was dead before the first period, and the under for the full game was dead before that first period was over. Are we going to see a bounce back in goaltending, in defenses in this game? It is hard to say because the Seattle Kraken team is playing like they're playing on house money. They have absolute fire out there on the ice, pushing the Dallas Stars into a game Dallas is more than comfortable playing in, which is a strong offensive game. Both of these teams have elite offenses. Both have strong defenses. Both have outstanding goaltending. We didn't see that in game 1. Jake Ottinger looked like himself in the second and third period. It was that first period, Jake Ottinger absolutely got destroyed. 3 goals in 52 seconds. It was something that we don't normally see out of Jake Ottinger. He is at the caliber of goalie that should not allow in 3 goals. You look at those 3 goals coming in 52 seconds, and it is mind-blowing what we saw in that game. Now, Grubauer on the other side of the puck is absolutely outstanding as well. For him to allow 2 in that first period was a shocker for me as well. I'm going to look at both of these goalies to go over their saved shots on goal in this game, because we do look at both of these teams. Offensive ability to get these shots on goal was reigning in the last game. The Seattle Kraken had 44 shots on goal. The Dallas Stars had 35. So looking at Grubauer's save shots on goal, 27.5 at minus 122 to the over. I do expect the Dallas Stars to put up right around that 35 mark again. I'm looking at Jake Ottinger's save shots, 27.5 minus 102 to the over. 44 shots the Seattle Kraken put on him in the last game. They are going to hit right around that high 30s as well. You guys, I do not see both of these goalies being picked apart, but I do see some goals coming. I'm looking at that first period where we'll see those goals. Those early misses by the goaltenders, I think the first period over 1.5, great way to go as these goalies really settle into things. Now, I do think the Kraken plus 1.5 on that puck line at minus 155, and shop those lines, you guys. We are seeing some lines out there that I've seen some minus 146s. Same with the other game, taking the Florida Panthers plus 1.5. You just got to shop those lines around. I'm going to sprinkle on the money line. I do think both of these dogs tonight have every opportunity of winning if these favorites, these home favorites, play like they did in the first game. Jake Ottinger is phenomenal. I could see this full game staying under, but I'm not touching it after what we saw in that last game. I don't want to lose more money on betting the total. I do think that over 1.5 in the first period should cash as these goalies get hit early. But other than that, I am not touching any totals in this one. Now, Jordan Burley, if I can say his name, had 1 goal, 1 assist, and 3 shots on goal in the last game. You can get Eberle for a point tonight at plus 144, and I think it is the way to go with the Seattle Kraken. If you're looking for a player who's going to be impactful out there, Jordan Eberle is the guy, with Jared McCann out of the lineup right now. Now, remember, he went out versus Colorado when Cale Makar put that hit on him. So undisclosed when he will be back in the lineup. As soon as he gets back in the lineup, we know he's going to be so impactful for Seattle. So hopefully he gets back up in the lineup soon. But Jordan Eberle coming in here with 63 points on the season, 2 points in the last game. We can get him for just a point tonight at plus 144. I think lots of opportunities to make some money. Now, Vince Dunn had 1 assist and 3 shots on goal in the last game, so someone to look at. And Jaden Schwartz coming in here with 1 goal and 1 assist and 3 shots in the last game. So all 3 of those players being super impactful. Both of these teams unable to capitalize so far on the power play. We've seen the Seattle Kraken just so strong with their hits, really laying out the Dallas Stars, playing the more physical game, which when I looked at both of these teams coming in, I would have expected Dallas to be the more physical team. So Seattle really rattling the Stars. The Stars only 19 hits in the last game. And like I said, those shots on goal, the Kraken looking like they're playing on house money, just out there firing at will. So I do think we will see a team play that way. Well, I do think defense, though, does lock down a little bit more. I don't see these offenses being held back. Looking at the Dallas Stars and who I'm going to isolate for some player props here. You got to look at Hines coming out here for the Dallas Stars. He had 5 shots on goal in the last game. Over 2.5 shots on goal in this one is minus 104. Last game he had last game 2, he had 4 and 5. So the last 2 games, he had 4 shots on goal in the last one versus the Minnesota Wild, and he had 5 shots in this last game here versus the Seattle Kraken. So I think Hines is a good person to look at. Anytime goal for Hines as well, I would definitely hit. Max Domi coming in here with 3 assists in the last game, and Jason Robertson, someone who I love to target, 3 shots on goal in the last game. I do think he can get 4 in this one. We look at his ability to get those shots on goal, and it is there. Over 3.5 shots in this is plus 106. So Dallas has to dig hard, fight back. They cannot lose again to the Seattle Kraken, but I think we do see a Seattle Kraken team that is playing with confidence, just like the Florida Panthers, you guys. We've got 2 teams that are playing so strong, so confident. The underdogs are coming to play. So I see you guys release the Kraken. Release the Kraken is right. I do think this Kraken team has what it takes to beat the Stars tonight and beat a lot of these other teams for sure. You know what, Larry? It could be a one-off for both of them. We look at that first period, and it's not a true representation of those goaltenders, but I do think we get 2 goals in the first period. I would look at the full game. If I had to bet the full game, under the 5.5. I think this is a 3-2 style game. 2 goals coming quick. Defense is clamping up. When we look at that last game, what we saw was 6 goals in the first period, 0 goals in the second period, and 2 goals in the third and 1 in OT. You wipe out that first period, we basically saw 3 goals over that game. So I do not see this one, other than that first period, being a game where we're going to see a massive amount of goals. The defenses and the goaltending, I do think the shots on goal come raining in. Jake Ottinger cannot look as bad as he did in the last game. Otherwise, he's yanked. Who's the backup goalie for the Dallas Stars, you guys? Pop quiz on that one. Off the top of my head, honestly, I can't remember his name because we haven't seen him out there. So, you guys, it's going to be a crazy night on the ice. Goalie pops, Bobrovsky saved over. Yes, I love Bobrovsky, over 29.5 save shots on goal. And Grubauer save shots 27.5. Parlayed together at plus 215. Absolutely. Hit that, Edward. I absolutely love that. I have never parlayed my goalie props. You're getting plus 215 on 2 goalies that I already isolated to take their over on save shots on goal. I think it's a phenomenal way to go. And I do trust Grubauer more than I trust Jake Ottinger right now. So taking Bobrovsky, combining him with Grubauer, I think is a phenomenal way to go, Edward. Let's make some cash tonight for sure. You can definitely look at those anytime goals. I do like both of those players, or all 3 of those players, Tyler as well, for the anytime goals. Mark, nice way to go with that. Are you parlaying them or are you taking them all separate? Let's go Panthers. Max Domi, anytime goal. I agree with you. He was absolutely phenomenal in the last game for the Dallas Stars. Let's get this going. You're going to take the over 5.5. And I see why. This Kraken team, their ability to find the back of Jake Ottinger's net in that first game was absolutely phenomenal. You guys, it's going to be one heck of a night on the ice. You know I'm going to be screaming at my TV. It's going to be an absolutely phenomenal one. Drop below what you're betting, what you're liking. I want to thank you guys so much for joining me here on Pikkit with Joe. Did you need a recap? I don't think you guys need a recap. It's only 2 games. I'm not parlaying anything. Parlay them anytime goals, Mark. I love it. Absolutely. You know what I am going to do? Which game goes to overtime, you guys? Let me know which game out of these 2 goes to OT. We saw overtime in the Seattle Kraken and the Dallas Stars game in the last one. Florida and Toronto to go to overtime tonight. I think it's that tight of a game. I'm going to take that one to go to overtime. You got Florida boost, moneyline Kachuk over 3.5 shots on goal, and a Barkov anytime goal. I love it. I think that is a phenomenal way to go. Let's ride these dogs. Let's make some freaking money. I will parlay and I will sprinkle lightly because these dogs pulling off 2 road upsets. Although it might not happen, it has a great opportunity of happening. OT, Mark, that's the one I like for OT as well. Kenny, if you're liking that one, maybe we just take both games, sprinkle to go to OT. We definitely have a nice opportunity for these guys to go to OT tonight. So I'm going to take both dogs. I'm going to sprinkle on the money line. Both dogs parlayed together. I'm going to sprinkle on both dogs plus 1.5. Parlayed together. I'm going to sprinkle both to go to overtime. What the heck? If we cash one of these games to go to overtime, but both are right around that plus 390. I do like the goalie props, especially Jake Ottinger, Grubauer, and Bobrovsky save shots to the over. Samsonov, I'm not going to touch. Florida was limited in the last game with their amount of shots on goal, but they still ended up pulling off that win. So we've seen Florida be able to just score on those high danger shots in these cases. So not sure how many shots they're going to get. But you guys, I appreciate you. I'm so glad to be able to do this show. I want to thank you for being here. You guys are going to ride both games to that OT. Freaking love it. Let's go, you guys. Let's make some money. I will be back here tomorrow for another Pikkit with Joe. I can hardly wait. The sun is out. It is a beautiful weather. It is a great day to make some freaking money. I love each and every one of you too. Have a good day. We will talk soon. Bye, guys.